Hello Ibra Army and welcome to 2022, our first video for the year here at IBRACORP. Thank you so much for coming in and checking out the channel this year. First video of the year for us, and we're hoping it's going to be one that ticks a few boxes for you to get your year started right and a little bit more security conscious. Today we're going to be looking at Bitwarden. I'm going to show you guys how to install Bitwarden, use it for your family, for yourself, to help manage your passwords and even generate passwords and a bunch of other features that are offered through Bitwarden to help you really get control of all your data when using sign-ins. Now, Bitwarden by itself is hosted in the cloud, but when you use Vaultwarden with it, we can host it ourselves, therefore making it a self-hosted alternative. I'm sure many of you have heard of Bitwarden. I'm sure many of you have even installed it and are currently using it. So I'm hoping this video might give you a couple of extra things that you may not have known, or if you haven't tried it yet, at least to give it a go. We'll be showing you how to install it using Docker. Specifically, we're going to be installing it on Unraid, but I'll also show you the Docker run command so that you can install it on any other operating system where Docker is used. So if you're interested, you want to know more, and you want to protect yourself and your passwords and your family's passwords, then stick around. Without further ado, let's get stuck into it. So guys, welcome back. I hope you all had a fantastic Christmas period and New Year holiday. It's been very, very busy for everyone. It's crazy to think that that year has gone so quickly. Time is but a concept sometimes, and you just wonder where it all goes. In our case, you're obviously finding this video, so we're helping you get through the year already. So we're kind of proud about that. But in all seriousness, we're going to be looking at Bitwarden, and Bitwarden is a really versatile application and server in our case that will allow us to manage our passwords, have encryption and cross-platform applications for it as well. So we can use it on our phone, which I will show you later, and we'll be able to use it all for free. So we're here on Bitwarden's main website, and if we start scrolling down a little bit, we'll have a look at what they offer. So here you can see they have end-to-end encryption. They lock the passwords and private information with end-to-end 256-bit encryption, salted hashing, and all the rest of it. So we can rest assured we're applying all the common security practices to the passwords encryption. As we said, it's got cross-platform applications, so we can use it on our browser, mobile device, and desktop applications as well. It's got a very wide community base. Bitwarden's been around for a while, and so there is a lot of adoption to the application. There are some other alternatives out there for password retention, like LastPass, for example, but I think what sets Bitwarden apart is definitely the self-hosted option and the fact that it's free. So if we had to summarize Bitwarden real quick, what is it? How does it work? So Bitwarden helps you generate, save, and manage your passwords safely and securely. You can also share secure information easily with others in your organization. It's not just designed for home users, you can also use it for your family, but you can also use it for business use as well. Let's say you had a business, you wanted people to always use up-to-date passwords, you didn't want the passwords stored outside of your organization. This could definitely be the option for you. Here's a couple of the features and benefits that they provide. Secure password sharing, fantastic. We want to be able to share the passwords quickly and easily. Now that's something that I actually really do like about it, because you can then have, a central folder for your team, for example, and everyone in the team has access to it and they can all see the passwords in there. Got cross-platform accessibility. You can access critical data in your Bitwarden vault from any location, browser, and device. You can have the cloud-based option if you choose, or the self-host option, which we're going to show you today. You've got your directory sync, so you can really keep everything connected. Vault health reports. You got security auditing and compliance, so it's meeting all the regulations that are being put on by authorities in terms of password security. Always on support. So they do have support access as well if you wanted to. Now, I'm not sure whether that's going to be an option when you use the free option, but we'll see. Detailed event logs, flexible integration, so you can pull it in with your SSO, directories, Active Directory, whatever the case might be. And we'll look at the plans and pricing in a moment, but I'll just finish the page here just to give you an idea for those that are interested. It is open source, got end-to-end, and it's third-party auditors. They are audited by QI53, who provide them their validation, I suppose, to prove that they are secure and the methods they use are secure as well. So let's go up real quick. We'll go to plans and pricing. So this is what they offer on their website here. Business plans, you got $3 a month per user. Enterprise is $5. I'm sure some of you aren't looking at this for a business solution. If you are, those are the prices. For us that are looking for personal plans, here's what you get offered here. So you've got the basic free account, free forever. Premium account, $10 a year or less than $1 a month. And then you've got sharing access as well. So you got 2-person org, that's free. But if you want families, which is up to 6 people, it's $3.33. And you can see each level gives you a little bit of different features. So with the premium here, we get access to advanced 2-factor auth, emergency access, Bitwarden authenticator, and more. However, what this doesn't exactly show us is the self-hosted option, because you can, if you wanted to, use Bitwarden without setting up a self-hosted server. And in that case, you would just use their website, sign up, and there you go. You've got the access. And then later in our video, you'll be able to actually use it. It'll look the same. We'll show you how to use it. But if you don't want to self-host the server part of it, you can just sign up here as well. Here's the rest of those features that we talked about, and in a little bit more detail as to what you can get with each level. Now keep in mind, that's when we're looking at the cloud-based options. So that's pretty much the rundown. I think that's plenty enough for you to understand exactly what it is. So what we're going to do now is get into the install like we normally do. We're going to jump into the install and we're going to see how we can apply this in our day-to-day life. I'll also show you on mobile how that looks so that we can have that for comparison. So before we jump into the install, we have to explain the second part of what we're doing. The Bitwarden itself does not offer the self-hosted solution that we're looking for. Instead, we need to find Vaultwarden. Now this previously was called Bitwarden RS. It was renamed, and that was because it's not officially from Bitwarden, and the developer just wanted to avoid some sort of copyright issues and confusion for users as well. So here we are on their GitHub. It's Danny Garcia /Vaultwarden. As you can see, it's a unofficial Bitwarden compatible server written in Rust. If we scroll down, there's a bunch of information here of what we can follow, but here's what you get. So using the self-hosted option, we get organization support, attachments, the Vault API support, serving static files for Vault interface, website icons API, authenticator and UTF support, as well as YubiKey and Duo support. So as you saw in the other option on the official website, those were features that are considered premium. But because we're going to self-host it and we're using Vaultwarden, Vaultwarden gives us those options for free. So if we scroll down a little further, you've got your Docker run command. So those who are following this video and are just using plain Docker in whatever operating system you've got the Docker run command there for you, and you can just run it that way. It also explains a couple of options when it comes to your volume mapping and things like that. And it's all in the wiki. The wiki is actually pretty good, so I highly recommend you guys check out the wiki. So just under the wiki tab here, and you scroll down, you've got all these things that you can go through and really help you understand what's going on. There's a bunch of different options. So what I'm going to show you today is going to be our method of deployment, and it's going to be on unraid, of course, but you have all these other options if you wanted to. Now, if you wanted HTTPS directly from the server itself, you can do that and apply Let's Encrypt certificates, but we're going to be doing a reverse proxy option. So I'm going to show you how to do that so you can get access to it remotely while also reverse proxying it through NGINX Proxy Manager. Okay, so we're on an unraid server. We've gone to the App Store and we've searched for Vaultwarden. Now, there's only one option there at the time of this video, which is the official Vaultwarden repository. As we go through, we look for the potentially common options that we typically like to tell you guys about, and we've told you about it many times. So network type, we've got our custom Docker network set, IBRACORP set. If you don't know how to do that, we have a 1-minute video showing you how to set up a custom Docker network. The next thing we're going to look at is the port 4743. I know that is free on my system. If it is not free on your system, adapt it to suit. When you use the Docker run command, it's actually 8080. That'll apply to you guys who are using the Docker run command. Just check that the port is available. If not, Docker's going to tell you anyway and it'll fail. But just to save you that extra couple of seconds, if you know it's free, use that. Now, do we want signups to be allowed? So do we want people to be able to navigate to the Bitwarden page that we've set up and actually sign up for it? That'll give them access and allow them to see passwords and actually give them their own account. Do we want invitations to be allowed? So do we want to be able to invite people? However, admins and anyone with administrator access can still invite people even if this is set to false. So this is more if, for example, you've got a non-admin user in there and you want them to be able to invite others. So in my case, I'm actually going to set these to false. That doesn't apply to my setup and what I want to do with mine. But if you guys see a need for that, be sure to read up about them on the wiki and see whether those options work for you. The WebSockets enabled applies to WebSocket notifications. The WebSocket notifications will basically tell any of the Bitwarden clients whether an important event has happened. And that's really important. You might want to be notified if something happened, if somebody got access or passwords been found to be compromised, things like that. So you can enable it. I'm going to enable it. Then you're going to come over to here and it's going to ask for an admin token. Now, ironically enough, Bitwarden will actually allow us to generate passwords and we can set a whole bunch of different settings onto how secure we want those passwords. But until we get it set up, we actually need to use another service just to give us this admin token first. And then after we've got it set up, Bitwarden will handle it all for us. So in this case, we've gone to passwordgenerator.net, I believe. And I've just punched in 48 for the length. I've taken out symbols. I know that symbols make it more secure, but I've actually found a lot of the time, especially for you guys who are following our Authelia guides, having symbols in the passwords can cause issues, especially when it's like an escape character or something like that. So I usually uncheck it. Numbers is fine, upper and lowercase is fine. We eliminate similar characters, but if you wanted to make it even more complex, you could actually leave that. We'll generate the password and then we can click copy. So back in our template, we'll paste that here. And now we have our admin token ready to go. Just for those wondering, I'm obviously going to change this before I click apply. So then we have a different password to what I've shown you guys. Once you're happy with all that, we can pretty much click apply. Now for our volume mapping, we've got appdata/Vaultwarden. That's fine. We're going to leave it at that. Same applies to you guys running this in Docker run command. Make sure you've got a volume which you want the application data to be saved so that we are persistent. Definitely don't want to lose all your passwords in one swift move. So once you're happy with it, go ahead and click apply. Okay, so here's our container. It's finished and it's running. What we might do is actually move this into one of our Docker folders. We've done a video on this. It's called Docker folders and it's in our uploads. So if you want to know how we did this all and how it looks with all these animated graphics, be sure to check that video out. What I might do is set it under web services. In my case, that just seems to work better. Check that and add it to the folder. So we have the container running, it's installed and we're ready to go. The next thing we need to do is actually set up our reverse proxy and our subdomain. And the reason for that is we need to be coming through a HTTPS connection to access the vault. So it's actually better off for us to set up that stuff now and be able to access it remotely, and then we can set it up. So what I'll do is actually go to Cloudflare first, then we'll set up NGINX Proxy Manager. So here we are on our Cloudflare account. We're going to create a CNAME, we're going to call it Warden, and we're going to point it directly at our server. Now in our case, our server has a different address. In your case, you could just put the @ symbol and it should take you straight to where you need. So we're going to leave it at that and click save. With the Cloudflare part done, we then go to NGINX Proxy Manager. Now, in NGINX Proxy Manager, we're going to add a proxy host. Let's click Add Proxy Host. For the domain name, we put in the one that we created. Then we've started filling out the information. So in here, you can see we've put the IP address. Now, if you followed our instructions and set up a custom Docker network, instead of putting the IP address, we can just put the container name. So we can put Vaultwarden and that should. In my case, I haven't gone back and updated all mine yet. So I've just been putting the IP address, but I will eventually do that. So I highly recommend you guys just use the container names because that'll make it a lot easier if you have to restore a backup and the server's IP address has changed for whatever reason, then it's going to go by the container name instead. We're going to enable a couple of these options, WebSocket support, go over to SSL, we'll apply our Cloudflare origin certificate. So if you haven't seen that, check out our NGINX Proxy Manager and Cloudflare video. Then we'll go ahead and click save. Now let's click on it and see if that works. Now, sure enough, that works and we're in at the page from our reverse proxied address. So in here, we're going to go and click create account. Now I've currently got Dark Reader on, so I'm trying to make it as dark as I can for you guys. It's just easier for you to see. We've got our email address, we've got our name. We've then created a master password, which I have to reiterate is very, very important that you only know this password and that it's completely unique from any other password you've got. With this password, anyone can get in to all of them. Then you can have a optional hint if you like for the master password. So you put whatever you want if you need a helpful reminder just in case. Once you're done, go ahead and click submit.
Mission failed. We'll get them next time.
Now you may find you're not able to create the account, and that was our first test. So if we go back to the template, click on Vaultwarden, and in the template, we've got the signups allowed variable set to true. By default, it's set to false, so it won't actually allow us to create our admin account. So what we've done is set signups allowed to true, created our account, and now we can come back here and actually set it to false. Then back on our Bitwarden page, we can go ahead and click login. Once you first sign in, you're greeted with the main dashboard page. You've got the vault, you can create organizations, and you can go through all the different types of passwords down the left-hand side of the page. We can then also send passwords. So looking at the top bar here, we can go to send a password, create new send, give it a name, what type of file it is, whether it's text, click file, and click copy to share upon save. You then have all these other options. So if you wanted it to expire after a certain date, delete itself after a certain date, things like that. So it's almost like giving someone a note that automatically destructs, 007 style after they've read it. If we go to tools, you then got all these other tools that you can use. So like I said before, we've got a password generator that we've got here. So I can basically replicate what we had before and have a giant secure password if that's what you wanted. We can import data. If you're using something like Google Chrome or anywhere else where you're saving those passwords currently, we can actually bring them over. So in whatever system or program you're using to save your passwords now, there usually is an export option, which will then allow you to import it here. In the format section, you've got all these different options here to pick from. So you can see all the popular names that you might know about already. If we go up, we've got Chrome there, we've got KeePass, we've got LastPass, we've got all sorts of different options here that you can import so that you don't have to start all over again. You can then export it as well. So if you wanted to export it, you can do that. You've got JSON, CSV, and JSON encrypted options. And that's just if you wanted another backup or if you were to move back to another system later. You've then got options to report. So we've got exposed password report, reused password report, weak passwords, unsecured websites, inactive two-factor authentication, and data breach. So this is actually really powerful and gives us a lot of insight into where our passwords have been used, how they're being used, and whether they've been compromised. Something that I think a lot of people don't pay too much attention on, myself included. I get notified quite often and I kind of just let it go. The next tab at the top is our settings tab. So if you go into settings, then you got all these options down here. So we can change your email, your master password, your encryption, whatever the case might be. Perhaps you signed in a bunch of other places. You can deauthorize those sessions immediately. You can even delete all your passwords instantly if you wanted to. You've then got options here for timeouts, basic settings. How long do you want it to sign out from signing in? Do you want it to lock? So every time you have to enter your password. You can have gravitars. You can disable the website icon. So when we put a password in, it'll see what that website is. If it's Google, for example, it'll put a Google icon next to the password. And that helps you find it a lot easier. We've then got all these different themes. So I might actually set the dark theme here. So I've set the theme to the dark theme and I've turned off dark reader. And you can see it looks really nice. That's a really good color scheme. I like that. We can go to organizations, and then in here we can actually create our organizations. We've then got our organization and billing email. We click submit. And now we actually have an organization in here. So how cool is that? That within that organization, we then have tools and settings that we can apply. But if I go back to settings real quick, a couple of other things I need to show you. The next thing you've got here is two-step login. If you're using something like Authy, Google Authenticator, YubiKey, whatever the case might be, this is where you will then set it up. And it's really important that you do it. It's that extra level of security. At the very least, set up your email verification codes. Do that so that you can have that all ready to go. Then you've got domain rules. So under here, we can see whether you have the same login across multiple different website domains. And so this might be helpful in a scenario where you might have the login saved for services.google.com, but you don't have this password saved, or it's not coming up for admin.google. In that case, you could then add those in here so that you had them joined together, and it would say these two are basically the same company or want you to use the same password, or they might have a different name, but they're the same organization. We then have emergency access. So grant and manage emergency access for trusted contacts. They may request access to either view or take over your account in case of an emergency. Let's be honest, I don't know how often that might happen or if you want to use it, but the option is there. Just make sure the passwords that you've got in there probably aren't to some naughty websites. Then you've got free Bitwarden family. So if you wanted to set up your family account, you can do that here. And under the organization, then you can have all this stuff here as well. So if we go to manage under the organization, we've got people, collections, and policies. So this is not our personal account. If we want our personal account, it's up here in my vault. But under organizations, this is where we can add more people. So we can add our family or our team, whatever the case might be. And then we can have them all in this one space. You've also got collections, and then you've got the policies. So, if you want to have an account on our Bitwarden server, you must have two-step authentication. Or, we want you to use the password generator, so we'll give them the requirements for that. Then they also have tools here for the team, so you can do all the same things that we could do for our personal account, but for the team. And then you've got settings there, so you can change any sort of details you want about the team as well. So guys, that's a walkthrough of the interface. It doesn't stop there. So we have a server, it's set up and running, we've logged in, we've created an account, we've disabled any person being able to sign up any further. Now we want to be able to use it. How do we go about using it? The obvious answer is using it directly from our URL, but that's not really user friendly. What you might want to do is actually get the extension for your browser. In that case, you would look up Bitwarden extension and you will go to the Google Chrome one, for example, if you're using Chrome. Here it is in the Chrome Web Store. Once you've found it, go ahead and click Add to Chrome. We'll add the extension and it's going to give us this page saying it's installed. So how do we use it? Well, look up in our extensions panel up here. You'll see Bitwarden sitting right there. What I might do is pin it just to make it a bit easier to get to, and then we'll left click it. Now you're going to have a bunch of different options. If you are using the direct with Bitwarden account, this is where you will just simply log in. If we're self-hosting, we need to do a couple of extra things. So click on settings here, and it's going to give you the option to add your self-hosted environment. So what we're going to do is put in our URL. With the URL set, we'll click save. So now that that's been set, we should be able to sign in. So go ahead and sign in. So we put those details in and then we click login. Now it's let us log in. So we have a browser extension ready to go whenever we want to save a password. Let's test it out. I'm going to go to Bitwarden's main website here. And here we come across our first dilemma. We need to create a password. What are we going to do? Let's go up to Bitwarden in our extensions here. We'll go to generator and we'll tell it to generate a password for us. We want a pretty secure one, so why don't we say 30. We can click regenerate and then we can even copy it. Let's then paste that here and then click the box. You'll be asked to do some stupid captcha, which you know how much we love doing that here at IBRACORP. Then we click submit. You can see it's asking us for our details because we want to add it to our vault now. So what kind of login is it? So what kind of password is it? We're going to say it's a login. The name of the website is Bitwarden. That's what we've given it. Then the authenticator key, if you're using an authenticator key, which is also a really important feature. For systems and services where you're using a one-time PIN, this will actually help you sign in and automatically know what the next number is in sequence of that one-time PIN. You've then got the option to pick the folder. We haven't created any folder yet, so we'll leave that. Any notes you might want to add, and who owns the item. So if we have our organization, for example, we can put that under the organization. I'm going to leave it as my personal one, go up. Once we're happy with that, go ahead and click save. So we've refreshed the page, and if you look in the top right, we've got a little one indicator next to the Bitwarden tab. What that is telling us is that we have a password for this website. So it's given us this website and it says, okay, we've got a password here. We want to log in, just click it. How easy was that? Let's start that again. I'll back everything out. And as you can see on the Chrome Web Store, for example, nothing comes up. On the Bitwarden page, we've got the one there. We click it and we just click on that and it will autofill those details in for us. Then we click login and away you go. So then that is now working. So that was using Bitwarden through a browser extension, which allows us to get to websites really easily. The other option you've got is actually using the desktop applications that they have created as well. So they've got the Windows, Mac OS, and Linux options. And if we go to more options down here, they've got a couple of different ones as well. Then of course you've got our web browsers and you've got command line, even mobile. So we'll get to mobile shortly. But with this, for example, let's use the Windows one just to show you guys how that looks. So there's our installer. We'll click install and then we'll run it. So now we're presented with a desktop application similar to what we saw before. What we'll need to do again is go to the settings and we're going to set our server URL and then we'll click save. Then we sign in with those credentials. We press sign in and there you go. So now we actually have a desktop application managing our passwords as well. So what's the beauty of that, you might ask? I'll show you. So if we minimize this, so what you'll notice now that we have the application installed, we actually have a new context menu in our right click options. So if I right click, we'll see Bitwarden there. And then we also have the option to autofill, copy information, or to generate a password. Pretty cool. So if I click generate password, so on here, for example, we've got this password option. If I just right click, go Bitwarden and say generate a password for me, and then we paste it, it's created our password for us. So the next thing I want to show you guys is on the application on the phone. Now, unfortunately, even using a screen recorder on the phone, Bitwarden will actually black out the screen, so it can't be recorded. And that's probably a good thing. I don't think it's necessary. I mean, it's pretty easy to figure it out on your own as well, but the options are there for you when you need it. You've got the authenticator and you've got the encryption. So here we are on the Android App Store. We've got the Play Store open. We're looking for Bitwarden Password Manager. We've done that. We can then open up the app and it's going to ask us to sign in. Same thing applies. We're going to go to settings. Under the server URL, we're going to put in our IBRACORP URL and then it should allow us to sign in. Once we've then signed in on the phone, we then have all of our typical options. So we've got our login option there. We've also got our password generator. So you can have a password generator on the go anytime you need it and then instantly be able to save that password. You've got all these different options. We can then also send a password over to someone, or we can add some more if we like. If we go to the settings, we've got autofill services. So as you can see, we can then tell Bitwarden to become our Android autofill instead. So if we click that, for example, it's going to ask us which autofill service we want to use. In our case, we would pick Bitwarden. So now, anytime we sign into an app, anytime we sign into a page on our browser, on our phone, it will automatically work for us as well. So now we've pretty much covered end to end from using it on a computer to a browser to our phones or mobile devices. So guys, that was Bitwarden with our back end of Vaultwarden. So big props to the developer of Vaultwarden. Please go and support the project there. Give them a bit of love if you like what they're doing. It's really, really important. Even throw them a star on GitHub at the very least. If you like what we're doing and you want to help support us going into this new year, please feel free to support us any way you can by either joining our Discord, liking our videos, subscribing to the channel, or buying us a coffee or beer using our website or PayPal to help us keep going. We really can't wait to keep sharing with you more this year, and thank you for hanging with us. If you have any video ideas, if you have any feedback you want to give back to us, be sure to drop it in the comments below or in our Discord channel. We can't wait to see you in the next IBRACORP video.